In the world of Harry Potter, there are heroes who shine in the spotlight, brave, loved, celebrated. But then there's Severus Snape, a man wrapped in shadows and silence. From the moment we met him, he was painted as cold, cruel, and bitter. But that was only the surface. Beneath that icy shell lived a man who had loved deeply, lost painfully, and chose to sacrifice everything, without expecting anything in return. Snape wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. He joined the Death Eaters, hurt people, and pushed others away. But behind every sharp word and every cold glance was a heart shattered by loss, consumed by guilt, and driven by one emotion stronger than any magic: love. The love he had for Lily Evans became the compass of his life, guiding every choice, every sacrifice, and every painful step he took. This is the story of a man who gave everything and received nothing. A man who became the secret protector of the boy he should have hated. A man who was hated in life and honored only in death. This is why Severus Snape wasn't just a good man. He was the best man in the entire Harry Potter universe. 1. He loved Lily Evans with an unbreakable heart. From the moment Severus Snape met Lily Evans as a child, his world revolved around her. She was his light in a life full of darkness, a bright soul who treated him with kindness when no one else did. Despite their different worlds, her Muggle upbringing and his troubled home, he found comfort, love, and connection in her. That love grew over the years into something eternal. And even though she eventually chose James Potter, Snape's love never wavered. After her death, Snape didn't move on. He didn't love anyone else. That singular love became his life's purpose, so powerful that it shaped the future of the entire wizarding world. His love wasn't possessive or demanding. It was pure, painful, and selfless. And it echoed in one word: always. That word didn't just mean he loved her. It meant he lived for her, even after she was gone. 2. He changed sides when it meant everything. Snape was once a Death Eater, seduced by power, darkness, and the promise of acceptance. He made terrible mistakes, and he was part of a world that was cruel and destructive. But the moment he found out that Lily was in danger, everything changed. He didn't hesitate. He ran to Dumbledore, his supposed enemy, and begged for her life to be spared. That was the moment he truly transformed. Changing sides wasn't easy. It meant betrayal, danger, and isolation. But Snape didn't care about any of that. His only concern was saving Lily. And even after she died, he stayed loyal to the new path. He didn't return to Voldemort. He became Dumbledore's most trusted spy. That shift, born out of love and guilt, proved that people can change, and that redemption is a choice no matter how far you've fallen. 3. He protected Harry even if it hurt. Snape had every reason to resent Harry. He looked exactly like James Potter, the boy who bullied Snape and took Lily away. Every time Snape saw Harry, it must have felt like reopening an old wound. Yet, beneath all the bitterness, he protected Harry from day one. When Quirrell cursed Harry's broomstick, it was Snape who countered the spell. He didn't do it for praise. He did it because it was Lily's son. Snape's coldness toward Harry was never about hatred. It was a mix of grief, guilt, and unbearable memories. But even with all those emotions, Snape never once let Harry die. He watched over him like a silent guardian, even when Harry hated him. It's easy to protect someone you love, but Snape protected someone who reminded him of everything he lost. That kind of protection, that pain, he became the ultimate double agent. Snape played the most dangerous role in the entire war. He walked the tightrope between Voldemort and Dumbledore, risking his life every single day. He had to deceive the most powerful Legilimens, Voldemort himself, without flinching. One wrong move, one slip, and he would have been tortured or killed. Yet Snape pulled it off for years, fooling even the Dark Lord, all while secretly working for the Order. What made this even more remarkable was that nobody knew. He wasn't celebrated. He didn't wear a badge. He lived in secrecy, shouldering the full weight of the war without recognition. That kind of strength isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and self-sacrificing. Snape didn't just spy. He endured. He carried lies, fear, and guilt on his back, just to keep others safe. 5. He carried the guilt of Lily's death forever. Snape never forgave himself for Lily's death. It was his warning to Voldemort that led to the Potters being hunted. Even though he begged for Lily's life, he couldn't stop what happened, and that guilt consumed him. It became a ghost that followed him every day, haunting his every choice and filling his soul with grief. He believed he didn't deserve forgiveness, and he never asked for it, not even once. Instead of using that guilt to destroy himself, Snape turned it into a vow. Protect Lily's son, fight Voldemort, and do everything in his power to ensure that her death wasn't in vain. Every time he looked at Harry, he didn't just see James. He saw the reminder of what he lost, what he failed to protect. And yet he still gave his life to protect that boy. That's the weight of real love and real guilt. 6. He killed Dumbledore out of love and loyalty. One of the most shocking moments in the series was when Snape killed Dumbledore. Everyone thought it was an act of betrayal, but the truth was much more tragic. Dumbledore was dying already, from a curse, and he asked Snape to end his life, to save Draco from becoming a killer, and to keep Voldemort's trust. It was a cruel task, one that broke Snape deeply, but he did it anyway. Snape didn't want to be seen as a murderer. He didn't want to lose the only man who trusted him. But he carried out the request, knowing he'd be hated for it. It was the ultimate act of loyalty and sacrifice. He didn't do it for power or praise. He did it because it was the only way to win the war. That moment sealed his legacy, not as a traitor, but as a silent warrior. 7. He protected the students during the war. When Snape became headmaster of Hogwarts under Voldemort's regime, many thought he had truly turned dark. But behind the scenes, he was still protecting the students. He worked with the Order, ensured no student was killed, and even took beatings from Death Eaters to shield the kids from worse punishments. He was playing a terrifying game, appearing as the villain while secretly being their savior. Students like Neville Longbottom thought Snape was the enemy, but the truth was that Snape was keeping them alive. He could have run away. He could have let the Carrows torture freely. But he stayed at Hogwarts, his home, and used every ounce of his power to keep as many students safe as possible. That's not just bravery. That's love for a school, for innocence, and for hope. 8. He was never afraid to be hated. Snape never tried to explain himself. He didn't beg for people to see the good in him. He let them hate him, insult him, even fear him, because he didn't need their love. He only needed to protect the people Lily loved. That quiet strength, that ability to carry on in silence while being misunderstood, is one of the bravest forms of love. To choose the right path, knowing it will never be appreciated. That's a strength very few possess. Most heroes crave recognition. Snape wanted none. He knew people would spit on his grave, and yet he still gave them his life. That's what makes him extraordinary. He was hated in life and honored in death, and he never complained. 9. His love was his power. In a world full of magical creatures, spells, and prophecies, Snape's greatest strength was not magic. It was love. His love for Lily was so powerful, it altered the course of history. It changed allegiances, saved lives, and inspired Dumbledore to trust him with the biggest secret of the war. This wasn't weak love. It wasn't easy love. It was painful, aching, and all-consuming. It drove him mad and yet kept him going. And though Lily never loved him back the way he wished, his love remained gentle and undemanding. In the end, Snape proved that the strongest magic isn't cast by a wand. It lives in the heart. 10. He chose redemption, not revenge. Snape had every reason to grow bitter. His childhood was painful. He was bullied. He lost the only person he loved. But instead of becoming a villain, he chose the harder path, redemption. He didn't lash out. He didn't give in. He tried, every day, to undo the harm he once helped cause. Redemption doesn't erase mistakes, but it makes the pain meaningful. Snape's redemption wasn't flashy or dramatic. It was quiet, long, and full of suffering. But he stayed on that path anyway. That's what true strength looks like. Not the absence of flaws, but the willingness to rise above them. Severus Snape didn't wear a hero's smile. He didn't stand on pedestals or win the crowd's applause. Instead, he bore his pain in silence, made choices in secret, and gave up happiness for duty. He was the man behind the curtain, the one who saved the world while letting the world misunderstand him. He didn't need to be liked, praised, or forgiven. He needed to make sure that Harry lived, that Hogwarts stood, that Lily's sacrifice meant something. In the end, his legacy isn't about what he said or how he looked. It's about what he gave. Everything. So when we remember the heroes of the wizarding world, we must never forget the man who suffered the most and loved the deepest. Severus Snape was not just the best man in Harry Potter. He was the kind of man we should all learn from. Always.